So, where did it all start? My earliest memories of music was being able to watch it on TV and listen on radio. However, my passion for music came from competing with my neighbors to see who could play the loudest music. That was where I fell in love with the essence of sound and the vibration that came from speakers and how that would make me feel inside. My brother and I would record music over our parents' videotapes and cassettes. You had to time a radio station to record your favorite songs. Man, those were the days. I was also obsessed with DJing. I remember when I was able to get virtual DJ. It was a game changer. My tattoos also played a big part in my passion for music. They were really loud those days. I would even pimp my toy cars by connecting speakers and a small radio to them as I imitated what my tattoos did. One day, my sister got a keyboard. As she learned how to play it, she would also teach me some things and we would play together. That was where my interest for musical instruments began. With time, I became rather decent at playing the keyboard. Later on, my parents got me a classical guitar which then captured my attention and I would put so much time and effort into learning how to play it. At around the same time, I discovered Fruity Loops. This opened another new world to me. I became obsessed with creating and producing music. As a teenager, I would spend my holidays, morning to night time, just creating music. I loved it. I would share my music on Reverb Nation and SoundCloud. Fun fact, I actually still use some of that music on my videos to date. From early on, I enjoyed all sorts of musical genres. However, when I started producing music, I realized I had a tendency towards instrumental music. Maybe it was because I couldn't afford to buy proper voice recording equipment, but also I seemed to develop a deep bond with sounds and how they would affect my emotions. People who got to listen to my music back then would tell me they sound like soundtracks. Towards my later teens, my brother and I would start to go for music events. One event we happened to go for had a South African musician called Jonathan Butler. When I heard him and his band, it all made sense. This music, this was me. I could finally put a name to it. Its name was jazz. That event changed my life in many ways. I fell in love with live music. It's one thing listening to music on radio or in the studio, but when you go live, it's on a whole other level. I got a new goal in life, to become a live performing musician. With time, I began to build my sound. I loved African sounds and I loved jazz. Bring them together, you have something around the area of Afro jazz. At the time, there were three musicians who I truly admired and loved listening to their music and performances: Aaron Rimbui, Dan Aseda, and Chris Adwar. My brother and I attended a lot of these guys' events. By some luck or chance, I was able to connect with Chris Adwar. He listened to tracks I had made and I asked him to teach me his ways, to which he initially accepted. It didn't last long though. I got frustrated because I would travel all the way to his place, which is where his studio was, and then have to wait for him because he didn't keep to his timings, or he'd forget, or something would come up. Around this time, I would also start serving in church as part of the worship team playing instruments. By this time, I had picked up bass guitar, which became my music instrument. I also enjoyed playing lead guitar from time to time. Together with some friends, we formed what would be my first band at Parklands Baptist Church. We will play at the youth church. My main church at the time was Sitam Karen though. There I would get to play at the main church for a number of years. While I was still in college, I got to join one of Kenya's top rock bands at the time, called Dove Slim. I loved playing with those guys: Gilles, Dims, Migs, RIP, Ron J, and my brother who also joined in later. We did a number of gigs when I was there, even getting to play at the Rift Valley Festival. I love being on stage, there's no feeling like it. And for someone who tends to be introverted, this really meant something. Around this time, I also got my first professional paying job as a musician, playing for a musician called Valentine Ziki. My brother was also part of the band, together with Ainea, Johnny Machine Gun, Rapasa, and another percussionist whose name slipped my mind. During this period of time, I got an opportunity to meet a super director in my region at the time, Jay Blessing. I even got to visit his studio and he actually offered me a non-paid internship there. But me and my big design dreams said there was no way I would work there for free when I can make money doing my own thing. Huge regret, but lesson well learned. My time in this band was however cut short when I had to travel to university. While at university, I met some amazing fellow Kenyans there and we formed a band. As a band, we would mostly serve in church, but we also got to play at other events in and out of our campus. We didn't just rep for Kenya, but for Africa as a whole. Our biggest performance was to be the music act at an event hosted by the Kenyan embassy in that country. At around this time, somehow I ended up connecting with a really big video producer based in the USA. After getting to talk, he offered me an opportunity to work for him in America. The only thing was that I needed to sort my own transport there. This was a huge opportunity, but unfortunately it came at just the worst time possible. So it came and went just like that. During this time, I also got to see Keiko Matsui performing live. If you don't know who that is, just Google her. One of my favorite jazz artists. When I was done with uni and came back, I got the opportunity to join one of the biggest gospel groups in my country at the time, called Adonij, as their bass player. It was here that I got to experience my first tour as a musician, as the band had lined up to do some gigs in Machakos. Through the band, I also got to meet the legendary producer, Dominic Kaemba. I had to leave the band after a short stint though, because it had become tricky to attend their practice and rehearsals, which were on the other side of town from where I lived, and they were not paying, so that didn't make things any easier. Eventually, I would stop playing as an instrumentalist, realizing just how difficult it was to earn a living as a musician in my country. I didn't leave the industry though. My brother and I began a platform called Nairobase, with the aim of inspiring upcoming musicians through various ways. One day, I hope we can get to sit down and talk about it and how that experience was for us. There's so much I could talk about music and its impact on my life. I still hope to join a band again one day and get to travel the world doing tours. Maybe it will be a family band, I don't know. I hope one of my kids takes up music though. They'd be my favorite. Don't tell anyone. So many jazz festivals around the world I would like to attend, and also to someday get a chance to watch Coldplay live. My dream instrument is the Fender Jazz Bass, which is not cheap, so please subscribe and watch my videos so that I can save up and get one someday.
If you enjoyed watching, please subscribe to my channel for more videos.